Happy April to you and welcome to the Maple Grove Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. Thanks for joining us along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
We have an April 1st meeting to talk about. No fooling, right?
No.
The meeting did happen. It was a short meeting, about 53 minutes. One major topic that was discussed, and we'll get to that in just a second. But before we get there, let's talk about a few items from consent that we thought would be important to bring forward. And one we've talked about a few times, the rush for passports continues to go and the city's responding.
Yes, so we're going to be adding a part-time staff person to our passport operations. We have just had full calendars and we know that there's more customers we could be serving out there. So a new staff member will be joining us here in the next few weeks. And so by May, you'll begin to see more appointment times available to the public there. So. And
what you're finding is when kids are off school that the rush is on and the whole family comes in to get passports.
Spring break has been very busy. Yeah, because it's, you know, if your family hasn't had passports or your children haven't had passports, the easiest way is for mom and dad to both be present to get, you both have to sign off on those passports for the kids. So we find that those school break times end up being very busy times for that operation.
All right, Maple Grove meeting the need with more staff helping out in that area. One other item from the consent agenda, Lake Improvement Program. And just a note here to mention how important it is and the good work that is done. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's various improvement projects going on the lakes here in Maple Grove. And what we do is we partner, this comes through the Lake Quality Commission, and we partner with the lake associations, and then the city kicks in some dollars to do the various projects. Some of the examples, aeration milfoil treatment, there's some aeration projects, carp removal, fish movement, curly leaf pondweed treatment, those kinds of things. Just a few examples, but pretty much a project on every lake, and that's kind of a collaborative effort between the Lake Quality Commission, the lake associations, and the city.
Well, hats off to the group that's behind all of that work. A lot of lakes in the city that need some taking care of.
Yes.
No items under the open forum. We move right to community development items, and this was the big one for the meeting, and we've talked about it a few times already as it's moving through the process, and this takes us to that 105th Avenue area and a little bit to the north of it. It's the Northwoods Neighborhood PUD concept stage plan. So a lot of words there, and we're going to learn through the process here as we talk about it of what this leg of it means and what the next leg, because that was spelled out multiple times. Give us some background, first of all, about this discussion. What is the area? What is proposed?
Yeah, so the driver of this really is this proposal from the Northwood Church development. And so Northwood, they are a daughter church of Wooddale Church in Eden Prairie, and they acquired this land quite a few years ago in planning to build a church. They've moved around various locations here in Maple Grove. Currently they meet at the community center here in Maple Grove. So they are moving forward to put plans together to build their church. They own quite a bit of land, so they're bringing with it a residential developer. So the proposal includes the church itself and some surrounding property for that for some future expansion there, but also about 286 housing units. And so that's made up of 261 apartments in 4 buildings, 16 townhomes, and then 9 villa units. So this is a pretty big change for this area. In our comprehensive plan for 2040, the comprehensive plan that we just recently finished and is submitted to Met Council, this is consistent with the land use plan for up there, but it is the first one to go up there, and it's a bit of a shift. And so I think just a lot of interaction from the neighborhood up there and feedback, and working through those issues. If you might recall, we're also working through a master plan for this area, this whole area. So really north of 610 over to 94 on the east, and then up to County Road 81 and kind of over in the Parkway area on the east side there. Really looking at the master plan for that area, following on the comp plan and what that area might look like when it finally develops. So that's a process that we're hoping to wrap up here in the month of May. We're still working on a little bit of community engagement on that one, and then that'll be coming back before the council in May. What the church has outlined from a land use perspective, a density perspective, is consistent with the master plan. Our urban design looked a little bit different than what they're they're proposing, and there was some feedback from that, about that from both the Planning Commission and City Council as this moved through the concept design phase, which is the time that is good to, give that feedback. So now the developer and the church can go back and consider that before they come back for the next development stage plan approvals. So a couple other pieces that need to happen as this project moves forward. Of course, we have some improvements that would need to be constructed up there in terms of utility extensions as well as roadway improvements, and there really will be some decisions that need to be made about the extent of those improvements that are made. This 105th Avenue, there's a segment of it that was not improved when 610 came through there, and so that will need to be considered. There's a plan for a city park up in that area, and so the time frame for that park development will need to be considered in terms of those improvements that are constructed. And now, of course, we have the Dayton Parkway interchange to the north. I'm going to combine those, make a new name. That's being constructed, and so we'll have to consider whether we improve Holly Lane at this time as well to connect up with the new Dayton Parkway interchange. So many things to be considered here, not only the Northwood proposal, but we also have the balance of the master planning, the feasibility study about the public improvements that need to be made, and then of course we need to await the Met Council's acceptance of the 2040 comp plan. We submitted that after Council's final approval here earlier in March, and the Met Council has 120 days to review that, and then they will either accept or provide us feedback about that comp plan amendment, which is necessary for this project to move forward because of the change in land use. So new frontier being plowed here, so there's a lot of things, a little bit different than plugging into a lot in an area that's already urbanized and has improvements and other types of denser development around it. So this one will probably have a lot more discussion, and you'll hear us come back with this master plan and the feasibility study, and then more reports on how that comp plan's moving through the Met Council process.
And again, this is the concept stage, so again, this is just looking at the basic concept and understanding what they're thinking to do, but really when it gets to the development stage, that's when the nitty-gritty is talked about of what the buildings will look like, landscaping, all of those elements. Is that correct? And even the roadways and what the final layout of the roadways might be? Yep.
So the council asked a lot of questions about that because they wanted to make sure that they, really all they were kind of blessing on Monday night was the density that is approved for the site and the general concept for the site. But they really wanted to make sure that they maintain some flexibility in terms of how that housing is laid out, how the roads are laid out within that project. So I anticipate as we continue to work with the developer over the next few months here before they come back for development stage, that things may look a little bit different when they come back. We'll see how that goes, but those were things that the council had a particular interest in, and so we'll continue to work on those items.
This type of work that's being done up in that 105th area, I'm trying to think back to when the last time something like this would have happened in Maple Grove, where you kind of went to the new frontier and started a new area. Would that be the southwest area of the city and some of the changes that are happening? Because this isn't something new. This happens all the time in cities. It's just kind of interesting in Maple Grove that you think, well, it's mostly all developed. Well, that's not the case.
No, we have a lot of land left to develop, and so part of our comp planning process was to then follow on with these master plans to look at these areas that are left to develop in the community. And really there are four. So there's this 105th area, which is on the east side of 94. We've got the northwest area, which is on the west side of 94. A lot of land up in there. That'll be developing over the next 20 to 25 years. We've got a little bit left in the southwest corner, and then of course the balance of the gravel mining area, which really could be, in under development or use as gravel mining for the next 20 to 40 years. So Maple Grove really has a long horizon of additional development, and so we're going to be dealing with this. I think the gravel mining area south, even though that's been kind of moving along from the fountains, every time you break into a new area and if there's a change in what the land use is or what's going to go there, I think, and rightfully so, we should be taking some time to look at those areas. But always brings with it a little, concern and hand-wringing and wondering, about the first move that you make. And so, we're going to have a lot of years of this as we start to plow ground into those areas that haven't been developed before.
And some of the discussion elements that come up as well are ones that come up all the time on plans where you're talking about the trees and how you're going to handle the trees in the area. area or the
Yep.
quality of the soil in the area. So
Yep.
again, things that will be talked about at the next meeting, but come up probably most development projects. So
Yes.
some good input from the council. Again, there were people in attendance as
Yeah.
well. Didn't take the opportunity to speak at this meeting,
Yep.
but I understand they were vocal and very
Yep.
involved at the Planning Commission.
Yeah, a lot of input at the Planning Commission level. Both, we had a number of members from the Northwood Church there, as well as some of the neighbors that live in the surrounding area, that this is, going to be a big change in their backyard. And so, yeah, they did speak at the Planning Commission, so that input is into the record as well.
Very good. That process
Yep.
of public input does happen. So that, again, was the major item from the meeting that took about 40 minutes of the
Yep.
53-minute meeting. There were some staff reports. Let's touch on those because there are more things coming up in community development. Tell us what's coming up on the next Planning Commission.
Yeah, so this is a project that has been, we've been working on probably 6 to 8 months. This is the northeast corner of 101 and Bass Lake Road. So Pulte had come forward with a townhome project proposed for kind of that immediate northeast corner there of that intersection. If you are familiar with the area, we have the Hanson Outdoor Storage Facility just directly to the east of that, again north of Bass Lake Road there. That's been a long-standing use in that area, and in the last probably 5 to 10 years, 12 years I suppose, has really experienced more urban style development in and around that. So when it was big open fields around it, people didn't probably notice
No
it
one
a
knew
whole
it was
lot
there, right.
and now they have a lot of neighbors there. So we have been working with Pulte to kind of define how that development might work there on that corner, but also working with the Hansons and understanding, what their future plans are, what their timelines are. And so coming along with this Pulte development for Council and Planning Commission consideration is what's called an interim use permit, which would put some walls around that Hanson use and bring a sunset date to it. So that IUP will be considered by the Planning Commission and then come forward to the City Council as well. So we know there's a lot of folks in Maple Grove that store their things there at the Hansons. It's kind of rare to find an outdoor storage facility kind of this close in to the metro area, and so I think it's kind of popular for those reasons. But we also know there's neighbors in and around there that have some concerns about that ongoing use there, and so we're trying to balance, I think, both of those things, recognizing that the Hansons have been there for many, many years, but understanding that that land use out there is transitioning, and so trying to kind of wrap that all into an agreement. So those things will be coming forward to the Planning Commission here on April 8th, so that could be kind of a lengthy meeting coming up. One item we also have for that agenda is the expansion of the Park Nicollet Clinic up on just south of Maple Grove Parkway up there. So they're going to be adding about 8,000 square feet to their same-day surgery center, kind of adding a third floor to that southern portion of the building. So that's kind of an exciting piece to continue to see that medical office type use expand up there around the hospital, and I think we'll continue to see that type of use expand up there. So that's a good project
We'll bring
as well.
you updates on those as they come to the council level. Let's talk about Public Works and Engineering, and Ken's favorite topic of the season, of course, is potholes.
Yes.
So give us the pothole report. How is it going in Maple Grove, and where are you finding most of the potholes?
Yeah, so the guys have been busy out trying to tackle those areas where we get a lot of reports on that, and we appreciate that. We appreciate knowing, because it's hard to cover every road with our staff, but if we know there's an area that needs to be addressed, we'll get out and get after it. I think what we find a lot of times is that the roads that are private streets that might be access roads to retail areas, access roads to developments that have private streets, sometimes those aren't constructed to the same standards as a public street, and so they tend to break down a little bit easier sometimes. So a lot of the damage reports we've received are oftentimes on private streets, and so then we're trying to connect with those property management entities to connect those folks that have experienced some of those issues, and encourage them to get out and do some maintenance on their parking lots as well. So we think from a city street perspective we're doing pretty good, but we're also working on those private street connections just to get them out there and taking care of their properties as well.
Drive carefully out there. I
Yes.
think that's the key for this time of the year, is just watch out for those potholes. Something we've been doing on a regular basis. Let's do it again, and we'll probably do this throughout the next couple years. Let's talk about I-94 and how things are moving along. Noise wall process seems like it's continuing to move ahead.
It is.
And then tell us about that, and also about the third lane and where that sits now with the Met Council.
Yep, so sound walls, all 4 of the walls that were proposed in Maple Grove were voted positively to go in. We're going to be going through a process to look at the material options for those and make some decisions about that. So that's just another step moving forward in that process. You know, they are going to be getting out to bid here pretty quick on these projects for the unbonded overlay, so the pavement maintenance project from the Fish Lake split all the way up through Rogers, the Brockton interchange, Dayton Parkway interchange,
Right.
the additional lane that really picks up at Brockton and heads all the way to Rogers. And then, of course, there's other segments of this project further west. There's the additional lane from St. Michael to Albertville, and then
Right.
some work being done from Monticello to Clearwater. So a long stretch of 94 that'll be under construction. They're intending to start later this summer in 2019 to construct some of those crossovers. I'd referenced
Right.
previously kind
Right.
of the 494 project where they constructed those crossovers so
Sure.
they could move traffic from side to side during the different phases of construction. So they'll get started on that this summer, and then full construction will really get going in the spring of 2020 and really last 2020 through 2021. So we'll start to know a little bit who the contractors are going to be. I think they're doing some of this in a design build format. So we'll probably know some of those contractors here in the coming months, but project continues to move forward.
I recall back to 494, and there was the option, I can't remember the technical engineering term, but where they could switch the lanes back and forth.
Yes.
Is that something that will happen during the 94 process as those folks are going out of town Friday and coming back Sunday?
Yeah, there likely will be some of that type of shifting that goes
Okay.
on to move capacity from one side to the other depending on when they're working. And we also know that for a good portion of the project they'll be shifting the bulk of the traffic to one side, and then a lot of the exiting will be done on the other side. So you're going to really
So
have
watch
to
your
be
lane.
thinking ahead
Yes.
in terms of if I'm getting off on Weaver Lake or Maple Grove Parkway, what lane do I need to be in? And there'll be, of course, good signage, but it's going to be different than what we're used to. And
Yeah.
so people are going to have to be really paying attention to that and thinking about you know, where they need to get off in Maple
Right.
Grove.
Good point.
Yep.
All right, fun to be had. We'll keep you up to date on that process. One note that you had from the meeting is the Board of Appeal, and this is wrapping up this process for some property tax work.
Yep.
Where are we now, and what should people do if they want to respond?
Yeah, so folks should have received their property valuations. They're also getting tax statements at this time,
All
so they
sorts of
can
fun
be a little
stuff.
confusing, but we're really focused on that property valuation,
Right.
that market valuation for your property for taxes payable in 2020. So we are going to be hosting the Board of Appeal meetings on April 16th is your opportunity to come in and appeal your property value. Then the Board of Appeal, which is the City Council, acts as the Board of Appeal, will convene again on April 30th to make decisions about those appeals to those property values. Few more days left here through Friday, April 5th. If property owners want to come in and talk with our assessing staff or give a call to our assessing staff, they can have that discussion. Sometimes modifications can be made, but the deadline for that is really April 5th. And after that April 5th timeframe, we need folks to come to that Board of Appeal meeting on the 16th. So assessing staff is very busy right now. They're
Sure.
at high call volume, but they're there for you and ready to answer your calls. So we do encourage people to reach out.
Very good.
Yep.
Again, information at the end of the show about the city's website and phone number, so if you need that, we'll give that to you a little bit later. So that's the council meeting from the first, again, about an hour in length. There's recap in about 18 minutes. Let's move to other things happening in town on our remaining time, and one is not only potholes come in springtime, but severe weather can come, and
Yep.
you're going to be ahead of this and doing some education. Tell us what's coming up here.
Yeah, so Severe Weather Awareness Week is April 8th through the 12th, and so there will be various events going on throughout the week. The annual statewide tornado drill day is Thursday, April 11th, so schools, of course, participate in that. We encourage businesses and then residents to kind of think through how they're going to respond to that. So Maple Grove has 20 outdoor warning sirens, and they will be activated during the first drill at 1:45 p.m. and then the second drill at 6:45
Great.
p.m. So it's a really good opportunity for families to think through, you know, what would they do, where would they go? This weather, you know, we shift quickly from
Yes.
snow and ice removal to severe weather response. And so
Right.
it's time to kind of think through those plans again this spring.
Very good. Another item we've talked about many times, and again, great opportunity for people in business or looking to get into business, is Open to Business.
Yep.
What opportunities are coming up?
Yeah, so Tuesday, April 9th, we will have the Open to Business business counselors at the Government Center. They are there from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We do ask that you call and make an appointment so that they know that you're coming. A lot of times they ask you to bring with some of your business documents and whatnot to review, and sometimes they can even have you send those ahead of time, and then makes for a little bit more productive discussion. So information is available on our website about that program, and we do know a lot of our residents and local entrepreneurs do take advantage of it.
Yeah.
It's a good resource.
Hard to believe this next event is already 15 years old. It's the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. That is coming up in early May. Give us a quick overview of that event.
Yeah, Thursday morning, May 2nd, out at Rush Creek, and this starts at 7:15 in the morning. The keynote speaker this year is Chris Wright, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Minnesota United, the new soccer, not the new soccer team, but they have the new soccer stadium here in the cities, which is, it's an exciting year for them. I know they are, I think they have their first practice at the facility today or something I heard on the news this morning. So,
fantastic.
Event includes a buffet breakfast, music, and of course a lot of networking and fellowship with members of the community. And we do have the registration available online. We're doing it through Eventbrite this year, makes it a little bit easier, and that's open through April 16th.
Very good. A few other events for the middle of April that you might want to make note of: a blood drive and a tree sale. Let's combine those together. What are we looking at for both of those? Yeah,
blood drive occurring at the Government Center on Thursday, April 18th in the morning, 8 to 11. I do know that they are having a lot of shortages. I think the winter was a little tough on them, so they are really seeking donations, and that is the Memorial Blood Center. So if you go on and search for Memorial Blood Center blood drives, the Government Center option will pick up.
And if I'm thinking trees, you can help out with trees.
Yeah, so we have the annual city tree sale that's coming up. It was on page 6 of your Spring City newsletter there. I do know I saw some Facebook posts about it as well. So orders are accepted through April 15th, and then trees can be picked up on May 18th. We do offer 5 shade trees, 5 ornamental trees, and 1 evergreen option, and the prices range from $30 to $100. So kind of a nice option for residents this spring.
Yeah, great opportunity for people to get those trees up, and then once the trees start to drop things, okay, that's a ways off. But if you have to clean up after the tree, the Yardway site is a great help, and it is open. What does that offer to residents of Maple Grove? Yeah,
so this is located right off of Maple Grove Parkway, just north of 610. They moved up a couple years ago here now after the road was completed. Hours are Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, and Sundays, 11 to 7. So you do need to bring an ID to prove that you are a Maple Grove resident, but you can bring grass, leaves, brush materials. There's all kinds of dimensions about logs and trees, so you might want to check out the website if you're taking down some trees in your yards. Rocks under 2 inches, plant materials, all those kinds of things. And so mgyardwaste.com is the website for that operation.
And if you do see some of your friends maybe from other cities, don't be alarmed, because this is something that you work with other cities on. So not only great for Maple Grove residents, but it's something great Maple Grove can offer to other surrounding communities. Yeah,
a lot of our neighboring communities, Champlin, New Hope, Crystal, they all utilize this facility. So yeah, you might see folks from other communities there.
Great opportunity. Arbor Day is coming up on the tree thought here. So Arbor Day is coming up on April 27th, and you have some festivities.
Yeah, so the Maple Grove Arbor Day event, Saturday, April 27th, noon to 3. This is at the Community Center, kind of an annual event that the Arbor Committee puts on. We have the U of M Raptor Center show will be there, the Reptile and Amphibian Discovery Zoo show, drawing for free trees. There's a bunch of displays, vendors that are there, activities for the kids, free tree and garden advice by master gardeners and tree care advisors, and of course a lot of information about emerald ash borer and buckthorn. So we really encourage people to come out if they are interested in this for their spring gardening and yard care.
And again, inside the community center is that spot. If your April's not full already, get ready for a couple more events coming up, and this is one we've talked about quite a bit. Great addition to the city of Maple Grove. It's a Veterans Memorial, and you have an event coming up on the 13th. What happens then? Yeah,
so this is a program that's led by the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon organization here in Maple Grove. So they're going to be starting construction on a Veterans Memorial at Central Park, and so they are hosting a groundbreaking event on Saturday, April 13th at 10 in the morning. So it'll be on site there at Central Park, kind of in the southwest corner of the park there. So they're going to get going on that, and that'll be under construction over the summer months. events.
Very good.
Yep.
Farmers Market, it's about time to get outside, but before we do that, still a last chance inside.
Yes.
Tell us about April and May then for the market.
So we have 2 indoor markets scheduled for April coming up this Thursday,
Yep,
so tomorrow
very
night,
fast.
Thursday, April 4th, and then of course on the 18th. The inside markets run from 3 to 6 p.m. And then this year we're going outside a little bit early, so we're hoping for good weather.
Good thing the snow is gone.
Yes, that's right. And so the outdoor season will start on Thursday, May 16th, and the outdoor season will run all the way through October 24th. So we're looking forward to that extended outdoor season.
3 more events to touch on, one with exercise, one with ice skating, and one to help people continue to be strong and healthy as they live longer. Tell us about the Longevity Health Expo. What is this?
Yeah, so April 6th, this is coming up here quick on this coming Saturday, April 6th from 10 to 5 at the community center. A variety of vendors offer their products and services related to nutrition, fitness, weight loss, and more. Over 80 exhibitors are planned, and there will be presentations, demos, and entertainment, so some activities on the stage as well.
Lots of fun to be happening there. Also lots of fun at the ice skating show, and you've got lots of skaters in Maple
Yes.
Grove. How many are going to be on the ice?
Over 100 skaters this year, and this is the 19th annual skating show put on by the Maple Grove Skating School. This event will take place on Saturday, April 13th. They do 2 shows that day, one at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m., and then you can purchase tickets in advance or at the door at the community center, and I believe you can purchase those through the Park and Rec program,
Very
the
good.
online program.
All right, we'll give you that website in just a second. Your final note is the Step to It Challenge. If you haven't heard of it before, great opportunity for residents throughout Hennepin County to get out and do some exercise, and it just doesn't have to be walking or running. You can do just about anything.
Yep.
Why is this important to Maple Grove, and how do we get involved?
Yeah, so Hennepin County is the lead on this project, the county's Step to It Challenge. It's a free 4-week physical activity program during the month of May. It asks you to kind of track your activity during this time. There's a website, steptoit.org, that you can go to for more information. So Maple Grove, the community of Maple Grove will have a challenge for the community, and so you can sign in to be a part of that. Or if your workplace would like to partake in this, you could, or your school, or just yourself at home, you can set it up however you'd want to do that. And you're right, it's not about getting out and necessarily running. It could be, you know, cycling, dancing, walking, manual wheelchair use, all those kinds of things. So there's room for everybody in this program, and so we really encourage people to go online and check it out and see what works for you in your life.
At times, some healthy competition between different cities as
Yes.
well, so I'm sure
Yes.
Maple Grove would appreciate people getting out and getting involved. And another great partner is the Twins, so there's some opportunities for some neat prizes through this as well.
Twins
How do the
tickets.
Twins get involved?
Yeah, so participants have a chance to win Minnesota Twins tickets and a bunch of other prizes. So Twins are kind of a sponsor of this through Hennepin County.
All right, thanks to the county for helping out. A fun event for all people. Heidi, thank you very much for the
You're welcome.
information.
Thank
A lot
you.
going on in the city and a lot coming up in April. If you need to go to the website to find out some of those dates and maybe to register for some of those events in April and in May, there's the website right in the middle of the screen, maplegrovemn.gov. Next meeting is on April 15th, 7:30, and again, a lot coming up at the Planning Commission on April 8th, so we'll touch on that as it comes to the council on April 15th. Phone number at the bottom of the screen, and again, questions or comments for the program, 533-1710 is our viewer response line. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks again for joining us.